Whether you're just starting out or looking to upgrade your credit card, these are the top 5 Chase credit cards and how to climb the Chase credit card ladder. Starting with the first one, the Chase Freedom Rise, which is a no annual fee credit card that is perfect for those looking to build their credit and doesn't have many flashy perks. However, they do have a couple things that are great for those just starting out. Like with their first benefit, the ability to earn 1.5% cash back on all spending categories. So whether it's gas, groceries, dining out, or even travel, you still have the ability to earn cash back for your spends, which for those of you that are beginners, this isn't always common with credit card issuers. Normally, if you have no credit history, you have to open up a card that has no benefits, and this is the way of the bank protecting themselves potentially from someone defaulting on one of their cards. In addition to that, this card also has a $25 bonus on it when you set up your automatic payments. Setting up automatic payments is pretty easy, and it's basically just when you connect your bank account to that credit card so that when your monthly bill comes, you have those bills paid on time every single month and preferably in full, which is truly not a bad bonus, especially for those looking for a bonus where you don't actually have to spend money to achieve that bonus. In addition to that bonus, Chase also gives you the ability to check your credit score and track it in app, which when starting out is very helpful in regards to actually making sure that your credit is being built correctly. And lastly, even though this is a no annual fee credit card, which is great, you are still required to have at least $250 deposit into one account with Chase prior to opening this card. This effectively works like how any other secured credit card would work, except for the fact that this isn't necessarily a secured card, and that $250 can be used after your card is actually open. So the only question left is, who is this card for? And I feel like I've made it pretty clear that this card is for your beginners. Those that don't have credit scores and are looking to actually start their credit card journey. That being said, moving on to the next card in this list, we have the Chase Freedom Flex, a no annual fee card that actually provides you with a decent amount of cashback benefits. The main one of which is the 5% cash back you can receive on rotational categories. Those categories change every 3 months and include things like groceries, your gym membership, Amazon purchases, and more. Now, that 5% cash back is great. However, outside of that, you also have the ability to earn 3% back on dining out, drugstores, and 1% back on everything else, which makes this a huge upgrade from the Freedom Rise. However, that's not it. With the Chase Freedom Flex, you also have a intro bonus where you can earn $200 when you spend $500 in the first 3 months of account opening. To clarify, this is for new card members, so this isn't necessarily something that you may receive when you upgrade from the Freedom Rise, but is something that you would receive as a new account holder, meaning this would be for the new card that you receive on top of the actual Freedom Rise. And in addition to that, unlike with the Freedom Rise, this card also has a 0% introductory APR, meaning for the first few months of having this card, you'll accrue no interest on the actual spends that you do on this card. After the introductory APR period ends, your interest will start accruing at 18.99% as of the filming of this video. So given that that doesn't last forever, I do recommend paying off your cards on time and in full always. That being said, the only question left is, who is the Chase Freedom Flex actually for? And I'd say the Chase Freedom Flex is for someone that isn't necessarily a beginner, but someone that's looking for a solid cashback card. Maybe you're not ready to spend an annual fee on a credit card, but you are interested in earning as much cashback as possible. Moving on to the next card on the list, we have the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which is personally one of my favorites cashback cards. Not only is it a no annual fee credit card, but just like with the Chase Freedom Flex, it actually allows you to earn 3% back on dining out and at drugstores, plus 5% on travel booked through the Chase travel portal. And you might be saying to yourself, well, is that really better than the Freedom Flex? And those categories aren't what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the actual ability of this card to allow you to earn 1.5% cash back on all categories outside of the dining, drugstores, and travel, which makes this card kind of like a combination of the Rise and Flex combined. And while you can't earn that 5% cash back on rotational categories with the Chase Freedom Unlimited, there's nothing stopping you from actually having both of those cards and being able to earn the 1.5% back on everything else, plus the 5% on the Freedom Flex, which is something that we like to call a credit card combo. With that said, one of the benefits of doing this credit card combo is that you also have the ability to earn that $200 cash back when you spend $500 or more in the first 3 months of account opening with the Chase Freedom Unlimited. A similar benefit to the Freedom Flex, just in addition to it. And like the Freedom Flex, the Chase Freedom Unlimited also has a 0% introductory APR that you can also benefit from as a new account holder, allowing you to really stack benefits on top of themselves. That being said, the only question left is, who is the Chase Freedom Unlimited for? I would say the Chase Freedom Unlimited is for someone that wants a cashback card, but doesn't want to have to think about which category they have to use for this card this month, and which category they have to use for this card next month. It's very simple, straightforward, and allows you to actually earn cashback without having to think about anything extra. Now, before we move on to any other cards on this list, if you were interested in opening this card or any other card on this list, I'll leave links to them in the description below that also help support the channel. So if you do use any of those links, thanks in advance. Moving on, I want to take a quick detour and talk about the Chase business cards, which for those of you that are entrepreneurs will help immensely. For these cards, we have two primary ones that I like to mention, which is the Chase Ink Unlimited and the Chase Ink Preferred. Both of these cards have cashback / points categories that you can earn from, with the Chase Ink Unlimited allowing you to earn 1.5% cash back on all of your spends, and the Chase Ink Preferred allowing you to earn 3x points on advertising through social media sites, shipping purchases, internet, cable, and phone bill services. Not to mention 1x points on everything else. Those 3x points per dollar spend is limited to the first $150,000 spent combined each year. But again, after that, you have that 1x points per every single dollar. Then in addition to that, with the Chase Ink Preferred, you have the ability to earn 90,000 points when you spend $8,000 in the first 3 months of account opening. And with the Chase Ink Unlimited, you have the ability to earn $750 cash back when you spend $6,000 in the first 3 months of account opening as well. With that said, the Chase Ink Unlimited actually provides you with a 0% introductory APR, similar to those Freedom cards I mentioned before. But the benefit with the Chase Ink Preferred is that you have the ability to actually use your points through Chase's travel portals and transfer partners, which, if you know how to use those, are extremely valuable. So the big question left is, who are these cards actually for? And I'd say that the Chase Ink Preferred is for someone that's looking for a card that provides you with points to use for your travel, not to mention someone that isn't afraid of a $95 annual fee. And I'd say the Chase Ink Unlimited is for someone that's looking for a cashback card, and maybe someone that's looking for some short-term business funding. Whether you choose the Unlimited or Preferred, both these cards are great, but they are only for businesses and contractors. So let's get back to the personal cards. For the second to last card on this list, we have the Chase Sapphire Preferred, a $95 a year points earning card that's great for those that enjoy travel. And I say that because not only do you have the ability to earn points on this card, like 5x points on travel booked through the Chase travel portal, all the points that you can earn with this card can be redeemed for up to 25% more, specifically when used through the travel portal. So if you earn 10,000 points, those points would actually be worth 12,500 points. With this card, you can earn 3x points on dining, 3x points on online grocery purchases, excluding Target, Walmart, and wholesale clubs, 3x points on selected streaming services, and 1x points on everything else. Then, if that weren't enough, this card also has a standard intro bonus where you can earn 60,000 points when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of account opening. Because this is the Sapphire Preferred card, those 60,000 points are worth 25% more when redeemed for travel. Therefore, they're worth around $750, which is great, but that's not all. Because with this card, not only do you have the ability to redeem your points for more through the travel portal, but this card also provides you with a $50 hotel credit, allowing you to really reap every single travel benefit you can think of. Now, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a great card. However, what really makes this card so special is the fact that when you actually have this card and you have something like the Freedom cards, you actually have the ability to use that cash back that you earn through the Freedom cards as actual points on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And you might be thinking, well, how does that benefit me? And I'd say you have to think back to what I mentioned before, which is credit card combos. While the Chase Sapphire Preferred has some great benefits, when you actually combine it with something like the Chase Freedom Unlimited or the Chase Freedom Flex, you start to realize that you can actually use use the Chase Freedom Flexes to bump up your points earning categories there, or the 5% rotational category with the Freedom Flex to earn even more points on those categories. This 3-card combo of the Chase Freedom Unlimited, the Chase Freedom Flex, and the Chase Sapphire Preferred is what's known as the Chase Trifecta. And of all credit cards out there, this is known as one of the most powerful credit card combos there is. And that's because of your ability to not only use the points from Freedom cards onto the Sapphire Preferred, but it's because of your actual ability to actually transfer out the points that you earn into any of Chase's transfer partners. Two of the best being Air Canada and Hyatt. And without going too much in depth into the nuances of actually transferring out points, which partners to use, I will say that the reason why this is so valuable is because with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, where you can actually use the points and spend them at a 25% increased value in the Chase Travel Portal for 25% more value, when you actually transfer out those points into a transfer partner like Hyatt, those points not only become worth more, they could actually even double, triple, or even quadruple in value depending on how you use them. Using these transfer partners is how us credit card enthusiasts are actually able to travel the world for free, if not for very cheaply. So if I haven't made it already very clear, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is definitely one of the best travel cards out there. The only question left is, who's this for? Well, on the basic side, this is definitely for someone that wants to earn more points for their travels. And on the more advanced side, this is for that frequent traveler that wants to really maximize every point possible. With that said, before we move on to the last card, you should know one thing about the Chase cards in general, and that's the 524 rule, which is an internal rule that Chase has basically to prevent people from gamifying the system and restricts users from opening up a new credit card with Chase when they've opened up 5 credit lines previously in the past 24 months. 5 credit lines can include credit cards, car loans, or any sort of lending. This may not seem like an important rule now if you're just starting out. However, if you do start to get into the credit card enthusiast game, then you will want to know how to actually use the system to your advantage without actually messing up your reputation through the credit card issuers. That being said, moving on to the last card on this list, we have one of my favorite Chase cards out there. And that's because unlike with many of the cards that we've mentioned before, this card just has that much more perks on top of it, but it also does come with a $550 price tag that you need to understand what the benefits are that are included on this card. So starting out with this card's spending categories, you have the ability to earn 5x points on your flights booked through the Chase Travel Portal, plus 10x points on hotels and rental cars, and 3x points on your dining. With that said, the points that you can earn for your travel does exclude a travel credit that you receive with this card, just like with the Sapphire Preferred's $50 hotel credit. But the only difference is that with this travel credit, you can actually use it for anything travel related. So for this $300 annual credit, that means you can use it on flights, hotels, but also on things like taxis and cruises. Once you've used this credit, then you can start earning those points. And on this card, when you redeem those points through the travel portal, they're actually worth 50% more. So something like that 10,000 points I mentioned before would actually be worth 15,000 points, which is especially great because of the fact that this card comes with a intro bonus where you can earn 60,000 points when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months of account opening, making those 60,000 points worth $900 when redeemed for travel. So a huge benefit there. Now with a $550 annual fee, I would expect a little bit more than just a $300 annual travel credit and 50% more when redeeming points for travel. And don't worry, Chase doesn't stop there, because with this card, not only do you have a credit for either TSA PreCheck or Global Entry, but this card also has partnerships with DoorDash and Peloton. And then in addition to all of that, comes with additional traveler's insurance and protections to give you that peace of mind when you're taking your trips. Now, if that weren't enough, this card does come with transfer partners just like with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. However, unlike the Chase Sapphire Preferred, this card actually provides you with one more benefit that many people love about this specific card, which is airport lounge access. Airport lounge access is something that's normally only reserved for these higher end cards. And because of this, not only do you get access to the Priority Pass and Air Canada lounges, but Chase also has specific lounges for card holders. These are the Chase Sapphire lounges. These lounges, unlike the Air Canada and Party Pass lounges, are only for card holders. And because a lot of these lounges are pretty new, they are some of the best lounges you'll find out there, providing you with great food, drinks, and a place to rest and relax before that next flight. With that said, Chase has about 7 of these lounges currently open all over the US and are planning on opening 2 more in Las Vegas and in Los Angeles. So if you frequent those airports, you should be pretty excited. But with that said, the only question left is, who is this card for? And I'd say this card is not only for that frequent traveler, but someone that actually wants to upgrade their travel experience. Before I reveal this card or any other card on this list, I'll leave links to them in the description below that also help support this channel. So if you do use those links, thanks in advance. But without further ado, the last card on this list is Chase Sapphire Reserve. And that brings me something that you've got to start understanding. Even though we've lightly touched on each Chase credit card on this list, it'd be better to have a deeper comparison on certain cards like the Chase Sapphire Preferred versus the American Express Platinum. To learn about each of those credit cards, check out this video here, and see you in that one. Bye.